Oh, my hair's a mess. Hello. I'm Reverend Asha Burson Johnson, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Port Angeles on our very first YouTube Live talk. We've done a few things on Facebook Live, and we've been migrating over to YouTube. We're currently an online ministry, given all the circumstances in the world. And it's my honor, my joy to be with you right here and right now in this space. So on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month, my intention is to do a brief talk, 10 to 15 minutes at the most, on a particular topic, and then to invite conversation and comments, questions from you. And in this space on YouTube, you can put things in the comments section, and I can respond to them better than on my phone. I'm on my computer at home. So you're sitting in my office with me at my house in Port Angeles, Washington, and I'm really glad to be with you right here, right now. We've been a spiritual center for 5 years in Port Angeles, 5 years as of this last July. And we have a beautiful community and a beautiful property. And here we are live in this amazing technology that's available to us, where I can be wherever you are and you can be wherever you are, and we can be together in time and space. I often say there is no time and space in God, so we can be together right here, right now. So tonight's topic is called Enough. That's the title of this talk, Enough. And there are lots of ways we can say enough. We can say enough, or we can say enough, or we can say enough. There are so many ways to look at this word. I'm going to focus on it a couple of ways tonight. The first thing I want to kind of talk about is our wonderful Western consumer culture that we all are a part of, that we're all sort of guilty of falling into, consuming, that especially as we start to roll into December, becomes such a prevalent condition of buying the right things, of having the right decorations and the right food and the right presents and the right stuff and having enough of all of it to make everybody happy. It's so easy to get caught up in that. Every commercial that we see tells us to buy more. Every magazine we pick up tells us to be more, to be different than we are. I had to laugh at so many of even the spiritual magazines that I read. So many of them, they, in one beautiful article, tell you how you can get in touch with the truth of who you are, the beautiful divine life that we all are a part of, that just as we are enough, that we are plenty, that there's nothing we need to do in order to be loved and accepted into the world. And then you turn the page and there are all these ads for this miracle cream and this particular thing that will enhance your chakras, or this thing that you can buy to make you better. So I find that an interesting dichotomy personally. And I notice for myself, when I am not feeling enough in myself, how I look outside for validation. I look for others to affirm that I am enough. And in fact, the only way I ever get to be enough, and maybe you, is when we remember that we are enough right here, as we are, the age we are, the weight we are, the gray hairs we have or not, the wrinkles we have or not, the experience we have or not, the mistakes we've made. My mom, who is a powerful spiritual teacher in her own right, she said she likes to take the word mistakes and take it apart. Mistakes. Like if you're doing a film, if you make a mistake, they say, cut, take two, cut, take three. And nobody gets tense about it. They just know that's how it works. And one of my other ministers that has been a very valuable and powerful resource in my life used to say, there's no mistakes, there's only research and development. That's all. That's the scientific process. We try this, it doesn't work. We try that, it doesn't work. We try the next thing, it doesn't work. And then finally something works. something clicks, something works for us in our life, in our particularities. I like the word particularities instead of all the stuff that's weird about me or wrong about me or different about me than you. We all have particularities. I have particularities and you have particularities. And it's helpful when we can let others know. Well, thank you for inviting me to dinner, but my preference is not liver. That's one of my particularities. And if you like liver, that's great. My dad, another powerful teacher in my life, used to say, I'm not in charge of what tastes good in your mouth. So when I'm talking about enough, I'm not in charge of what's enough for you or not enough for you. I'm not in charge of what you buy or don't buy. I'm not in charge of how you live your life. I'm not in charge of what tastes good in your mouth, of how you choose to live. And it's just an interesting topic for discussion. What is enough? When do we feel full? When do we feel satisfied? Within ourselves. Then we can notice all the beautiful gifts that surround us in every moment of every day. When we're unsatisfied, it doesn't matter what anybody else does or how much we have, we're never going to feel full. And with that, I'd like to talk about this really great word that I learned, Windigo, Windigo, Windigo. I learned about it from this book, Braiding Sweetgrass, it's probably backwards on the screen, by Robin Wall Kimmerer. It's a beautiful book. I highly recommend it. We did it as a book study last year. And in one of the chapters, I got to put my glasses on to read this. She teaches us about Windigo, which is an Anishinaabe teaching, and it's a myth, an Anishinaabe myth. And the Windigo spirit is meant to teach us, the stories are meant to teach us about being enough. And they say in this book, the old teachings recognized that Windigo nature is in each of us. And so the monster was created in stories that we might learn why we should recoil from the greedy part of ourselves. This beast, the Windigo beast, is a beast that roams in the darkness of winter and roams through the cold, and it eats up everything it sees in sight, and it's never full, ever. This Windigo spirit roams the world, eating up everything. This beast has been called an evil spirit that devours mankind. The very word, Windigo, according to Ojibwe scholar Basil Johnson, can be derived from roots meaning fat excess or thinking only of oneself. A Windigo was a human whose selfishness had overpowered their self-control to the point that satisfaction is no longer possible. No matter what they call it, Johnston and many other scholars point to the current epidemic of self-destructive practices, addiction to alcohol, drugs, gambling, technology, and more, as a sign that Windigo is alive and well. In Ojibwe ethics, Pitt says, these are people that have been referenced earlier in the chapter, in Ojibwe ethics, Windigo is any overindulgent habit which is self-destructive, and self-destruction is Windigo. Windigo is everywhere you look. It is the Windigo way that tricks us into believing that belongings will fill our hunger when it is belonging that we crave. I'm going to read that again. It is the Windigo way that tricks us into believing that belongings will fill our hunger when it is belonging that we crave. We all crave to belong to something, to belong to each other, to belong in this world. We all crave that. It's a very human condition, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have been quoted as saying, and I say often, We automatically belong because we exist. That the power that created stars and universes and planets and mountains and oceans and rocks coalesced atoms together to create a you and a me. And so, of course, because we are created by this divine life, whatever you choose to call it, love, God, spirit, energy, quantum physics, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care. It took the energy of the universe to create a you and a me. And therefore, we automatically belong, not by what we do, but by right of our very existence. By the fact that we exist, we automatically belong. So I notice when I want to fill myself up with external things, people, ideas, concepts. And then I also can notice, and maybe you can too, as an experiment, notice, when do I feel filled up? Who do I feel filled up in the presence of? And without the presence of anyone around, can I feel filled up in my own presence that is the divine life? Or can I take a walk in the woods or in some place beautiful in nature and be filled by the awe and the beauty that is created around us in this world? Can we look in the mirror and be awed by the beauty and the enoughness in our own eyes? Can we start here, filling ourselves up so that we act and move and breathe in the world from our overflow instead of from our emptiness, grabbing and grasping at outside things to fill us up so that we feel enough to do anything? We can never fill ourselves enough to do that from outside. We can only do that from within, from practices that fill us up, by music that fills us up, by relationships that help us stay connected and grounded in the truth of who we really are, the beautiful, wonderful, human, spiritual truth of who we are. Take a breath. I'm going to close with something that got me started thinking along this path. It was a beautiful something that was shared probably on Facebook. I see great quotes there all the time, and they spark my interest and spark my thinking and my curiosity. So this was sent out by, I belong to the interfaith community here in Port Angeles, Clallam County. And as part of the interfaith community, there was an offshoot created called the Interfaith Earth Care Coalition, a group of people within the interfaith community that focus on specifically on earth care and those issues. And they send out beautiful, that's where I got this, they send out beautiful little blurbs every now and again. So this is called the Spirit of a Lagom, Lagom. Might be lagom or lagom. I'm not sure where to put the emphasis on the correct syllable, so I'm just going to wing it. The Spirit of Lagom. Quote, "Thank you, God, for all I have," end quote. That was the opening line to my nightly childhood prayer, still occasionally revisited, but now sometimes wishing my all, quotes, were less. Lagom is a Swedish word for, quote, satisfyingly just enough, end quote. A Goldilocks word that should have an English equivalent, but sadly doesn't. Its meaning, a sort of balanced perfection, just the right amount, comfort without waste. What if one pair of shoes was Lagom, thoughtfully chosen, put on with gratitude and wonder in the morning, lovingly cleaned and carefully stowed at night, and at the end of their useful life, in the way of one mindful clergyman, thanked, wrapped in tissue, and gently put in the trash bin. Much better energy than a jumble of shoes in the closet. I have been guilty of that. Another vignette, its origin was lost, that has remained with me over the years. A Native American man offering coffee to his guest in a mug with a broken handle. How spiritually beautiful and unpretentious. The chipped and worn grail, still offering communion. The vessel, imperfectly perfect. The invitation from the heart, come drink with me. Wouldn't finding Lagom in what we choose to have around us and engaging in mindful appreciation feed our souls better than the quote, supersize me, BOGO, all you can eat, end quote, mentality we've embraced? How much more fulfilling to mind, body, and soul to nurture the spirit of Lagom than the hungry ghost of runaway consumerism. I've been simplifying my life. I've been simplifying my closet. I have been a clothes horse in my life. I've had many, many clothes, many, many shoes, lots of things. When we moved here to Port Angeles, I got rid of about half of the little trinkets and tchotchkes that sat around my house because I said, I really don't want to dust that much anymore. And the things I keep, I want to be able to actually see them so that I can fully appreciate them. I've just recently pared down my closet and I wear neutral colors, black, gray, and white. And then the colors that I wear are blues, purples, and red. And that's it. I had some lovely things, but they didn't fit in with my new parameters. So I passed them along into the world. Some went to friends, some are going to thrift stores. If I can't see what's in my closet, if I only wear a quarter of what's in there, then I'm not fully appreciating the bounty that I have, the enoughness. So take another breath. As we dive into the holiday season, start looking around with curiosity and wonder and noticing without judgment. I don't care what you keep or don't keep. It doesn't matter to me. It might matter to you. Can we appreciate what we have? Can we have reverence and joy in what we have already? And if there's more to come, that's great. Can we be mindful of what we're putting out into the world and what's coming back to us? The more space I create in my closet, on my shelves, in my home, the more good continues to return to me in other forms, not stuff, but experiences and people and love. And maybe you'll find that too. This is the official end of my talk. If you're with me now and choose to ask a question or just say hello, I invite you to do that in the chat bar. And if you just want to listen, that's fine too. I'm grateful for your presence tonight. I'm grateful that I finally figured out this technology so that I could be with you right here, right now, wherever you may be, and whenever you may be watching this. I will plan to be back in this space again on the second Wednesday in December, and then the fourth Wednesday in December, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you for joining me. I'll pause and allow time for anyone who would like to say hello to do so before we sign off. Thank you for joining me in this space. I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm grateful for your presence in the world, and you make a difference just because you exist. I hope to see you again. Make it a great day. Bye.